You are listening to the J&T Marriage Podcast, where we talk real marriage, real problems, and real solutions. So let's get started.
Today we're going to be talking about honoring your husband. For all you ladies thinking, wait, what about him honoring me? We got you. In the notes, we have provided the video my husband has made to your husband about honoring you. Hey, I'm Tamera from the J&T Marriage Podcast. We're here to help couples to reconnect, learn to communicate better, and have way more fun. So, what is honor? Well, according to Webster, to honor someone is to hold them in high respect, esteem, or an exalted title. I know some of you are thinking, why should I see that in my husband when I don't feel that way? Or maybe, well, he doesn't do that for me. It's okay that you feel that way. It's actually really common. But I want to show you how to reconnect with your husband and show up in a way that makes you feel good. Honoring my husband feels good to me. It's not based on if he deserves it or not. It's based on how I want to feel and the example I want to set for my son. Learning to honor my husband started with me making a change, but really it changed the whole dynamic of our relationship because he felt honor, so he showed up differently. Here are the top 5 ways I like to show up and honor my husband. The first way is I like to verbalize gratitude. You may think that your husband can't do anything right, or you could be thinking, why should I tell him for things he should be doing? That's really common for people to say, and I get where you're coming from, but I'm going to challenge you to find one thing every single day for the next week and tell your husband that you appreciate him for whatever it is that he did. Some examples could be that he takes out the trash. Maybe he puts the toilet seat down. Maybe he rinsed a dish in the sink. I know these sound super trivial and silly, but whatever you want more of, you have to verbalize it. Let him know that you really appreciate that about him. The second way is that I learned what his love language was and I decided to show it to him. Now, this was uncomfortable for me because I had gone through abuse, so there was a lot of work that I had to do on myself. But this is also such a fun way to help couples to reconnect. You're definitely two different people with two different ways of processing information, especially love. For the longest time, I would withhold physical touch from my husband, not to be mean, but I had a toddler that wanted to be held all the time. I felt like I didn't get any help around the house, and honestly, the last thing that I wanted to do was to be touched. My husband felt really rejected, and we weren't protecting that part of our marriage. Once I learned that physical touch was his love language, which is more than just sexual, I started helping my husband to fill his bucket by paying attention, hugging him, snuggling with him, like all the things that we do in the beginning before life gets too difficult. The third way is I love to edify my spouse. It was so easy for me to want to share all the negative things about my relationship with people, but I stopped doing this for 2 reasons. For one, those people are not in my relationship and they cannot help me solve my problem. The other reason is because I wanted people to see the value that I have in my marriage. I wanted to paint the best picture of my husband to other people, especially our child. There is so much power in the words that we speak over other people. The fourth way is I started really valuing his input. So when I make decisions over a certain dollar amount, I talk to my husband about it. Now, in the world that we live in, there's so many entrepreneurs selling stuff to us left and right. And I would often say, let me ask my husband. I want to see what he thinks about it. Sometimes the response that I got was super rude. And it was like, oh, so your husband's a dictator. He decides if you're going to be happy or not. And I had to explain to them that I find value in my husband's opinion because together we make the best decisions. The fifth way was taking care of myself. Now, I'm not talking about physical appearance, although it really does feel good when you look your best and you feel your best. But I'm talking about our moods and the way we feel about life. If you're struggling with your emotions, go get help. There is so much help available these days. I feel like it's really unfair to our families when they have to feel like they're walking on eggshells because they don't know what mood we'll be in or when we'll just snap at them. So I say this with compassion and understanding because this is something that I went through. In 2015, I had just turned 35. And I felt like I was losing my mind. I was unstable. And the only way that I can explain it is I would want to Hulk smash something and cry and laugh all in the same minute. I really did not like feeling this way. And for me, it turns out that it was simple. It turns out it was as simple as fixing my hormones. But I had made that decision that I wanted to be my best around my husband and son, so I went and got help. And while it wasn't the easiest, and it took me quite a few doctors to figure it out, I committed to not giving up on myself because I wanted to show up as my best. So while this is about honoring your husband, I really want to press that it's more than that. It's about you deciding how you want to show up in your marriage and in your life. And for me, it was somebody that honored her family. So just a quick recap. The simple ways to honor your spouse and yourself are to verbalize gratitude, to learn his love language, and honestly, to learn your own love language. There's huge clues when something irritates you really bad is that part of you is not being acknowledged. The next is to edify him, ask for his input when making decisions, and take care of yourself. Now, if you're anything like me, I love learning new things, but don't passively learn this. Put this into action as soon as possible. It's the application that produces transformation. And to make this super easy for you, I've created a worksheet for you, and it's down in the description area. Hey, thanks for spending this time with me. Until next time, take care.
Thank you for listening to the J&T Marriage Podcast. For any questions, comments, and available resources or marriage issues you'd like to hear on the show, please visit jandtmarriage.com. That's jandandtmarriage.com.